Believe it or not, but I actually left my kids at school and did an errand this morning in the Suburban. So it is working, but it still needs a lot of love. And I was thinking I was gonna get back to you this weekend doing the rest of the stuff on this thing, but I just felt that I need to get this done. I need to have a functioning vehicle. So I wanted to just do it, and then I could get back to you stress-free today and update you and do some more progress on it. So the last thing we did last week was that we put on the master cylinder, and I was going to bleed it. And during this weekend, I bled it and I bled it and I bled it. And whatever I did, it was building air pressure in the reservoir, in the back end of the reservoir that is for the front brakes. And I bled the master, I bled the wheels. It didn't help anything, and it was getting so much air in the master cylinder that when you cracked the lid open to fill up fluid, it actually got out air like you're opening a soda can or something. So I'm not sure where it got all that air from, but it was just sucking and sucking and sucking more air in it, and obviously it wasn't working. So I put on the old master cylinder that has a small leak backwards against the brake booster, and it just started working and didn't have any problems. So I'm not sure what the problem is, but this is a new AC Delco. I bought the most expensive one, so obviously it bums me out, but I'm gonna see if we can make a return on that or something. But yeah, that's life sometimes. But that was just one of our problems, because then I was smelling gas and realized that the feed line from the tank was leaking. They had already put hose on it instead of pipe. So I had to drop the tank a bit so I could put on a new hose and work with that. Then we put on new tires, which obviously isn't the end of the world to do, but it vibrates a lot, so we have to look into that. And eventually I got this thing up and running, and I took it to the gas station, filled her up, and just drove around a bit. And then I got home and I turned it off. And the thing is with this thing is that sometimes the starter is smooth as butter and cranks super fast, and sometimes it feels like it's full of stones and barely turns over. So I don't know what's the problem there. We're gonna look into that. But I was gonna start it again just to try the starter, and it was cranking fine, but it didn't start. It was just cranking, no life at all, no ignition, no fuel, no anything. And I was like, someone is messing with me. This can't be real. But I let it sit for a little while. I was checking some wires. I wiggled the wire on the distributor and so on, and it just fired up again. And since then, it has just worked. So I'm not sure what the hell the problem is, but I'm sitting on needles every time I am going to start this thing. So that's not good, obviously. So we're gonna do some overall improvements here to hopefully make this thing a little bit better, but I don't want to do too much because I really want to get into the truck and start fixing the what I think is the head gasket. But I guess we'll see. But what we're going to do here today, we're going to change the oil in the engine, since it is obviously behaving good enough that it deserves an oil change. We're going to have to look into the wipers, because as you can see, I put on the wiper motor, but they are parked up here. So I think the arm is 100 degrees off, which is weird because I didn't touch the arm. I have some new wiper blades. We're going to have to look into the vibrations. And there's a really annoying brake squeal when you're not applying the brakes. If you apply the brakes, it goes away. And I think that's really weird, because I put on some copper paste. There are new calipers, new pads. The only thing that isn't new is the rotor. So I think it's weird. I basically never have brake squeals on my car. So yeah, we have to look into that. But yeah, it is at least working, and that's fantastic for now. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and change into my work clothes and do some improvements on this thing, so that we eventually can start working on my truck and get that up and running again. I put it up on jack stands here because first off, I wanna do an oil change. So we're gonna take out the plug and start draining that, and then obviously we're gonna put the plug back so that we don't pour everything on the floor like we did with the Blazer. But that's one thing, and also I want to look into these squeaking brakes, because it is embarrassing when you're driving slow past someone and it's like ee, 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 ee. So I want to look into that, and I don't really understand why it is doing that, because I took some copper paste on the pads on the backside, obviously, because that's what I've heard and I've always done it, and I never had problems with brake squeak. But obviously we have that problem here, and I think that I maybe found the problem. I don't think that you're gonna be able to see that, but we have a bit of play in the wheel bearing. I believe it's the bearing, at least it should be. So maybe if this can move around, that causes it to wobble a bit, and that makes it squeak. I don't know, but that's at least my theory. So I should have taken this apart, looked at the bearings and retightened them when I did the calipers, but I didn't focus on that at that point. So now we're gonna take this apart, see if we can find any issues, which I don't think, but I just think that we can tighten the bearing a little bit, and that will hopefully make this tighter so it doesn't make the squealing sound. I don't know, but that's my theory at least. But I'm gonna start off with draining the oil so that can drain for a while. So there doesn't seem to be a lack of grease. I have actually already wiped off most of it. It was covering the nut, so we obviously have a bunch of grease. And you can see on these rotors that they seem fairly new, and when I say that, I mean they're at least 14 years old, since this has been sitting since 2011, but obviously they haven't been gone very far. They feel very good. So I'm just thinking that maybe they didn't tighten this properly, and if we look like this, we can see that the nut is pretty loose. So I think this wants to be tightened, one of these holes. So that's what I'm gonna try. I don't see any point in taking this apart, since we seem to have a lot of grease, and see if it makes any difference. I went ahead and I tightened the bearing, just one pinhole on the nut, so it should be better. I don't think I should tighten it more, and I couldn't just do that. I removed the caliper and I put on some more of these copper paste anti-seize, so to hopefully get rid of this squeal, because it is bugging me like crazy. So we'll see if we'll solve that problem. It's me from the future here telling you that tightening the wheel bearing did not help. I don't think that was wrong to do, but it didn't help with the squealing. So I went ahead and picked up my kids, and I was really worried that something was going to fail. I thought that maybe the inner bearing was dry, either way, even though the outer looks fine. So I have taken everything apart here, and I'll show you what I found. And I removed the caliper and realized that it made the sound even without the caliper, so obviously it wasn't the brakes. And I was thinking maybe there's a stone behind the this backing plate, but obviously there's not much backing plate left, so that couldn't be it. And I looked here, and the bearing is obviously it has grease, so it's not dry. The seal has obviously broke, so that's not perfect, but also it works. It's not gonna fail on us. So I turned my attention to this, and you can see here that it's pretty worn on this edge here. And I think this is the issue. This thing is going towards the caliper, and obviously I forced the caliper tighter on when I tightened the bearing. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this, and hopefully that will solve our issue. But we know that we need these backing plates, we need new wheel seals, and now I'm at the point like I could have just changed the rotors. I would have bought new bearings and new seals, and I wouldn't have had this issue. So yeah, I'm turning more and more into that guy that buy the things new and don't have to worry about it. But I don't want to be that guy, but sometimes that's just the best way to do it. But anyway, I'm gonna remove this, put it back together, and see if it solves it. And here we have it together without this crap, and now it's totally silent. Before I tightened the bearing, I didn't hear this at all, but yeah, I'm guessing it just came that much closer and started to sound even more. So I'm gonna call this good. It shouldn't squeal anymore. So I'm gonna put this together, but I will jump back into the video where we were working on this the first time. I put on a new filter and I put in the oil drain plug. So now we can just fill it up with oil and we will have 2 of our things that we want to do done. And also you can see here I have taken down the starter because, as I said, sometimes it is cranking like crazy and sometimes it feels like it's full of rocks. So I have very good experiences with just taking a bunch of lubrication through here, because you can get it basically all the way forward, and just drenching that thing, and that have made starters a lot better. So we're gonna try that. Otherwise we have to look into another starter, but I really think that's gonna do a lot. So we're gonna do that, then we're gonna put it down on the ground. We're down on the ground. I filled her up with oil, so that's all done. So now we can continue to some other points on our list here, and one is the wipers that we will be getting to, but I want to do something else first. And I'm not sure if I told you earlier, but none of the switches and so on works inside the truck to redirect the air or to get it to blow hot air and so on. So this is a vacuum system, and the thing is that we have a plugged off vacuum line here. This is for the EGR. I have some trouble, so I just try to block that off. So that's nothing to consider right now. But here we obviously have a feed that they are blocked off for some reason, but I couldn't figure out where it was going. And the thing is, I've done some Googling, and this is obviously 89, and the Suburbans didn't get a new body until 92. So they were at the same years making 2 different bodies. And the thing is, if you search for a 1989 Suburban, you basically only get information for the new body style, even though it wasn't available, which is weird. And it was really hard to find any pictures showing how the vacuum system is supposed to go. But I eventually managed to do it. But I mean, the later body had the electrical switches and so on, so it doesn't match anything. And the thing is also, this got the TBI in 87, so there's a lot of switching gears here in the end, which makes this harder. But what I realized is that they have removed a T section that's supposed to go here. This is not supposed to be here. There's supposed to be a little piece here with another T that's supposed to go to this thing and also feeding it here. So that's how we have to do it. Make a hose here, T section with that thing, and then over to this, and this should start working. And hopefully we don't have any vacuum leaks inside the truck. And also we have this vacuum canister down here, which wasn't hooked up. So we have to hook all of this up, and if we don't have any vacuum leaks inside the truck, we should get all of the switches and so on to work. So that's my plan. Here we have it hooked up how I think it should be. We have the feed line, a T going to the cruise control, then another T, one going to the vacuum canister, and one going into the truck. So hopefully this works now. And to test it, obviously either we have to put vacuum here or start it. But if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it's some other problem. So I am going to leave that now and hope that it all works out. So now I think that we should look at the wipers and put on some new wiper blades. So the wipers work, they're not perfect, but as you can see, they want to park up here instead of in the bottom. And the thing was, when we bought this thing, the wiper motor was in the trunk, and I didn't know what was wrong with it. And I just put it back in place and it worked. But the thing is, this arm here was on the wiper motor, and there's a ball in here that it goes on when it's wiping. So I think that they have taken it apart at the motor before, and they have put it 100 degrees off. And now that I tested this nut actually can be threaded by hand. So I believe that they removed it, put it on wrong, and that's the end of the story. So I'm gonna switch that and put on new wiper blades and see how everything works. Got this back together, and I did, as I said, I just turned that bracket or lever 180 degrees. And also I removed this cover here, and we can see the screw and the sprocket. So we're gonna go ahead and put some lubrication on that, so hopefully they will work a bit better. But if we go in here now, we have still some issues, and that is the intermittent wipers doesn't work, and the parking thing didn't work in the beginning, but now for some reason it does. So I'm not sure, and I'm not sure. We don't have high speed, we only have low speed for some reason. So it still needs work, but at least we can wipe the windows and drive in the rain. So I'm gonna call that good for now. Maybe we can find another wiper motor. I can't remember. I know there is some common issue with the that intermittent thing, but yeah, for now I don't really care, as long as it works. But also they park quite high up. I don't know why they don't go down further, but we don't know if this wiper motor is even for this truck, since it wasn't in the back. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and lube this up, then I'm just gonna call this good, and we can move over to the next thing. Went ahead and put some lubrication in the wiper motor, and now actually it works on high speed also. So I'm not sure if the lubrication did it or something else, but it works better at least, and it goes a lot faster in general on the first speed also. So that's great, I guess, but the intermittent wipers doesn't work obviously, so that's for another day. That's not important right now. I also remember that I had a new air filter, so I put that thing in, can't hurt. So with that, we're done. There's only one more thing on my improvement list here for the Suburban that I want to look at, and that is the vibration. It has a weird vibration, and I think it's in the rear because it doesn't shake in the steering wheel, or there is something else related to the engine and transmission, but also I feel that's weird also. So I don't really think that's the case. We're gonna check the drive shaft also, it reminds me now. But what I want to do is I want to put this up on jack stands in the rear and put it in drive and just see if one of the wheels wobble or something, because I gotta say, I never balance my wheels, mostly because I don't have a wheel balancer. I only have a tire replacement thing. So in my opinion, if you have original rims with some decent tires, it can't be too bad. And I mean, I only drive like maximum of 70 miles per hour or around 120 kilometers per hour. So I don't drive super fast. Obviously it would be worse the higher speeds, but the way I drive, I don't really see the point in balancing my wheels that often. And obviously it could be unbalancing the wheels. Obviously it becomes better if you balance the wheels, but in general, I don't think it's a big issue. So I don't think that it is the wheels and tires. If it's not one of the rims that's bent, that's one thing I want to check right now. So I don't know, we're just gonna see if that's a problem. A fun thing is that if you remember my Oldsmobile, I complained that I had some vibrations in that thing, and I drove the whole summer. It started to vibrate at like 55, 60, somewhere when it got up to 100 kilometers per hour. And the thing is, like the last time I drove that thing, or one of the last times, one of my friends was behind me and he called me and said that one of my wheels were wobbling. And I have been driven like that whole summer without too much issue. So it can take a lot of weird stuff, and you don't even notice it that much, or in lower speeds. So I'm not really sure what's the problem. But anyway, we're gonna put it up on jack stands and see at least if the rear wheels seems to be running straight. We have it up on jack stands here, and I felt the drive shaft and everything seems to be good, but also it is the original U-joint, so what do I know? But they're not moving around at least, but maybe they are running rough, I don't know. But we're gonna try and start it here. And I have tested this already, and I mean, if we look at the rim like this, it doesn't seem to move around. But if we look at the tire, it feels like it's moving. And I put a battery here, and you can see on that corner that the tire is moving about this much or something, back and forth. which obviously isn't good. So I think that's really weird, and I think it's the same on that wheel also, but I mean, it's not the rim that's bent or something like that. It looks smooth. So I really feel that it is in the tires. You can see it has some sort of spot on this tire also. So yeah, and it's running weird. I don't know what the problem is, but I mean, there's something with the tires, and I felt that I actually bought a decent set of tires this time, because these are only 5 years old, and in most I have driven with tires that are 20 years old without any problems. So I don't know. I mean, you can't unbalance a tire being egg-shaped, so not really sure what I can do there, but at least I know that the rims are not bent to shit or anything similar. If it's something, it is the tires. Maybe they can round out, I don't know, but for the time being, I'm not gonna bother with it. We're just gonna take this down on the ground, take it out of here, and take in the truck instead. Got the Suburban out here, and now this will have to do for now. My hope is that we can get the truck up and running at least until the end of the week here, so that we don't have to depend on this thing. And then my plan is, when that's up and running again, we're gonna get the Chevelle registered. Unfortunately, I have to unbook my appointment now, with considering the problems we're having, and then after that we'll be getting back to the Suburban. That's the plan, at least. But something that bugs me like crazy is that this thing basically has the same issue as the truck. It's running weird at idle, it almost wants to stall and so on, and how can I have two trucks with the same issue and I can't find them? And now I put a new temperature sending unit for the ECU. I have put on a new oxygen sensor. I have checked for vacuum leaks, and I have done a bunch of stuff, and it just doesn't want to work properly. But it works good enough to drive it, at least. So now we're gonna take the truck into the garage and hopefully get the head off by the end of today. We got the truck in here, and obviously we're gonna start tearing into this cylinder head where we have lost compression on 2 cylinders. And I'm also debating myself, if we're changing one head gasket, should we change both? We have to remove the intake manifold either way, and that header, and we have to remove most of these brackets. So the amount of work to pull that head also isn't all that much work. So we probably should do that, but I'm thinking that to make sure that we have to, or maybe not, I want to go ahead and do a compression test on all cylinders to make sure that there's only 2 that we have issues with. So we're gonna do that, but also I realized that we are leaking some water, and that's weird because this thing has never leaked water before. And you can see there's a puddle down there, and first I thought it was this lower radiator hose because it is wet, but I followed it up here and it is wet behind the water pump also. So where is that water coming from? I don't know yet, but I feel since we have to take all of this apart anyway, we'll probably end up finding that. But I'm gonna start with doing a compression test, then we're gonna start tearing this down. I removed all of the spark plugs, and last week we checked number 1, 3 and 5, and 3 and 5 were bad. Now I checked 7 and 2, 4, 6, 8, and all of them are good. They are over 150 psi. So from what we can tell right now, we do not have a problem on this cylinder bank. So I am not going to go to remove that head here today, but I'm torn about if we're playing with the idea that it is the head gasket, should we change both or should we leave this one? So please tell me in the comments what you think, because I don't really know. Obviously they're 2 separate parts, they don't work together, so one going bad doesn't have to mean the other one is, but also there's not all that much more work to change both. So yeah, I don't know. You tell me what you think or how you would have done it. But for now, my goal for today is just getting the driver's side head off. But before that, or into working towards that, I want to remove all of this assembly, all of the pulleys and AC pump, alternator and so on, to hopefully find that water leak where that's coming from, and eventually we'll get to the head. We got this tore apart and I removed the fan and the pulley because I was certain that it would be the what would this be, the input shaft seal, but I felt here and it's not moist in any way, so that's not the issue. And I mean, I'm feeling here straight under, and obviously I find some water there, but it's hard to determine where it comes from. But I really feel it must be coming from the pump, and if that's the case, it's probably this back cover that is that has started to leak, or it has cracked or something. I don't know, but I feel I have to remove the pump, and if I order it within like 25 minutes, I can have it by tomorrow. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead, remove it, see if we can find the issue, and hopefully get a new one by tomorrow. Here we have the pump, and now we can clearly see where our water is coming from. I knew that they're supposed to have these, I'm not sure what they are called, but we have one here on the top also, but from my understanding, if the pump is wearing out, this is supposed to start leak to tell you that your pump is wearing out and you should replace it. And when I put this together with the new engine, I was thinking to myself, I should have changed the water pump, but I didn't have a water pump and I wanted to get it done. So I slapped it on because it was obviously working. So with that said, I don't think that had anything to do with the situation we're in right now. The thing is, when I was driving this and it started to overheat and I get to the gas station, my cap was sitting like this and spewing out all of the coolant everywhere. And I think, how I missed it, I don't know, but I think that I checked the coolant on this thing and just did this and forgot it or something. But for this thing to unscrew itself is pretty ridiculous, because now it is tightened and it can't untighten itself unless you push it down and twist it. So for it to come undone is pretty unrealistic, and the tabs are good, the collar here is good, so I don't really think that could have happened. So I really think that I brought this on myself with not tightening this. But what do I know? But I really don't think it's the pump. Obviously the pump wasn't perfect, but I think that the last straw was the overheat, and that made it leak out of that hole. So now I have gone ahead and ordered a new pump that we'll have here by tomorrow. And in case you're curious, I can talk about this back and forth a lot, but I have to pay about $120 for this new water pump. And the exact same water pump, we're talking the exact same numbers and everything, is $43 on Rock Auto. So and that's a small markup compared to a lot of other stuff that you have to buy here in Sweden. But in this case, I can have it by tomorrow, and with shipping and everything, I don't really save a lot of money. You have to buy more stuff in bulk to save money. But yeah, that's just the problem of living in Sweden, I guess. But anyway, we're here and we can't really do much more. So I ordered a pump, and now we can go ahead and tear down the rest and find out if that head gasket is bad, or if there's something else wrong with the cylinders or pistons or whatever. Got all the front accessories off, and that's not super needed, but it uses a lot of the holes here in the cylinder heads, and there's just a few left after that, so might as well remove it, and now we have a lot more space to work with. So now I'm gonna go ahead, take the intake manifold and then the header, and then eventually remove the head. After some more tear down, we have the cylinder head all ready to be pulled off. It's still attached with the head gasket, but all of the bolts are here, all push rods are out, and so on. So hopefully we pull this and we find something really obvious, like the head gasket, that we can fix. And or the worst case scenario, we don't find an issue, and then we really have a problem. So let's pull that head and see what we got. Head is off, and I found something very obvious here. You can see that the head gasket has blown straight through. So it is, from what we can see so far, best case scenario. Compression, when that cylinder came up, it throw over the compression to that cylinder, and when that came up, it throwed it into there. So it was just jumping back and forth. So how that happened, I don't know, but I'm happy that hopefully that's our issue. So we will have this hopefully up and running very soon. So I'm gonna take the head. Thankfully it's cast iron, so I don't think we'll have a problem, but I'm gonna lift it down here, look at it, remove that gasket, take a closer look at the the deck, so that's not warped or anything, or warped but damaged, but I don't think that we're gonna have any issues. Here we have the cylinder head on the floor, and obviously there's a bunch of soot here, but I think that this should clean. And we're really lucky in this case that we have some boring iron heads, because I believe that if these were aluminum, this would have been completely torched and probably this head would be junk. So that's good in that case. But now I'm at the point, should I get this thing resurfaced, or is it good enough? I have tried to do like this and check, and it's hard to see. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this properly, and we're gonna clean the deck here on the block also, and there's soot here also, but I really think that that can be cleaned off. I also I put this on so I could turn it over with the starter, because it was hanging on the damper, to get all of the water out of the cylinders. So I have also lubed them up with some WD-40, so hopefully it won't rust here overnight. But yeah, at the moment I'm just torn about if I should get this resurfaced or if I just smack it back on with a new gasket. So, and we don't have much time here for today. We have some more time, we can do some progress, but I'm not gonna put on the head here today. So I would really like to hear your opinion. Do you think I should get this head resurfaced, or should I just smack it back on and be happy with it? With that said, we're gonna go ahead and clean this now. Clean this. I'm gonna see if I can find some good straight edge, and just try to see if it is if we can see any obvious problems. But yeah, feel free to tell me what you think. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean this and look at it. I went over the head with some 320 grit sandpaper just to get rid of all the junk here. And as you can see, it has, I'm not gonna say it's been resurfaced, but it has been surfaced. But this is probably the original job from GM, I'm guessing, I don't know. But obviously it's a pretty rough job. I think it looks probably worse with the dirt in it, but you can obviously see how it was done. So with the feeling that I got just going over it with this, it obviously turned out pretty even. So with that said, it doesn't look all that awful. But I'm gonna do something, just a test. I'm not saying that this is how we should do it, or that this is scientifically accurate, but it's gonna give us an idea. And since I'm a body man by heart, this is the best thing I'm coming up with. So I'm gonna show you something now. So I'm gonna try something here, and I'm not saying that this is correct, that this is the way to do it, that this will be the definite answer or anything. I'm just saying, when I think of, is the head straight or not, this is the first thing that came to mind for me. Since I've been doing body work, this is basically the same thing for me. I have applied a coat of just some Rattle Can Black to this surface, which obviously we can just remove later on. But this will be our sort of guide coat. And then I have this, a long sanding block. And I have some 320 grit sandpaper, and I'm just gonna do some cross pattern here to get a feel for how it looks. Do we get even do we get sanding scratches on all of surfaces, or is there somewhere there is an obvious low spot? As I said, this isn't really telling us much, but it gives us a rough ballpark idea. So I was hoping that it would clear the whole head, but obviously it's not, so that's not perfect. But we're just gonna try and do like this for a few times, like this. This hasn't really dried, so it's clogging up the paper. But I mean, this gives us an idea that at least there's no low spot here where we had our issue with the head gasket. I mean, it's taking more here than anywhere else. So I really don't believe that we have lost any material here. Why did this happen? I don't really know, but I mean, it overheated, maybe it got so hot it torched it. Obviously it's at the exhaust valves. So I don't know, but I mean, we do have wear marks basically everywhere. And I mean, here we have the combustion chamber or the cylinder head, so here we don't need anything either way. So I don't know, but it gives us a raw, at least it tells us that there's no wear mark here where we had the issue. So I don't know, really. I called the place that can do a resurface on the head. They want like $140 a head to resurface them, which obviously is quite a lot of money, but also if that solves an issue, it's obviously good. But I don't really know. What do you think? Does this need a resurface, or should we slap it together with some new head gaskets? Also, I think that we have to take into consideration, what is this? What are we doing? We're not running a lot of boost, we're not running a lot of compression, we're not running a lot of RPM, and it's not gonna be under super high stress. It's a like 180 horsepower engine that's gonna turn mostly, or at most, 5,500 RPM or something, but it's mostly gonna live under 2 grand RPM. So I mean, it's an old tractor engine basically, and I don't really think that it should be an issue. Why did this happen? I don't really know. Probably because I overheat the engine. So we have to think about, do we resurface this or do we not? Or also, are we going to do both heads or not? So please feel free to tell me what you think about that. But for now, I'm not gonna put this on here today. So yeah, we will have tomorrow for that. And also the engine shop that I talked to said that they could do this like basically over a day, or I could have it by the next day. So we don't have to worry about that. So yeah, I have to think about it for a little bit. But I'm gonna go ahead, clean the block, and prepare for tomorrow when we eventually get this on resurfaced or not. I have cleaned the block here, and I mean, it might as well be an issue here instead of there, but I mean, I guess the head is more common to fail. But I am not taking this engine out, taking it apart to resurface the block to then put it back together again. Then in that case, we're doing something else. I'd rather whatever, I don't know, but that's not happening. And I cleaned the head, so that's basically ready to go on if we decide to go that route. So I'm really curious about your opinions of the situation here. But yeah, this is basically where we're at the moment. So I'm gonna consider my options here depending on what you guys think. I'm not really sure what to think. I think that it should be good with another gasket. It's obvious that the gasket was failing, and I can't see any problems that have occurred on the block or the head because of the gasket failing. So I really think that it should be good with another gasket, but this is not my professional area, so I can't really say that much. But yeah, we'll see which route we end up taking. But that's tomorrow. So it would be fantastic if we could get this running by tomorrow. That would be so awesome. And then we can continue with the Chevelle and get that thing up and running, and then we can go to Suburban. That would solve so many issues for me, but also I want it to hold, so I might as well resurface the head if we have to. But I'm gonna leave you there. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be back to you tomorrow when we're hopefully slapping this back together.